it is finally time to get to the good part. If you haven't already seen my video on my top 5 existing anime of 2019, there will be a card appearing on the screen right now. As I mentioned in that video itself, 2019 was an amazing year for anime, be it the ones being carried on from years past or the newcomers from this year itself. And in today's video, we will be looking at those newcomers in my top 10 new anime of 2019. All of the entries to come are brand new series that have nothing to do with anime from previous years, which means that leftovers will also be excluded. And on top of that, all of these anime must end within 2019 itself. Unfortunately, not all of them are so lucky. So here's a moment of silence for these close calls. Attention all viewers, now if you look at the screen on the right, Fire Force is being shown right now, and at the time of this video, Fire Force has already completed. Unfortunately, I didn't know about that until the very last minute, so everything's kind of screwed up right now. And also, I haven't actually started watching Fire Force, so it wouldn't have made it to the list anyway. So that's to clear things up in case there was any confusion. Thank you. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Anyways, we ain't got time for tears and sorrow. We're here to celebrate the best that this year has to offer. But first, once again, let's look at some honorable mentions. Probably the most overlooked anime of the entire year. This simple story about a young man who adopts a stray cat as a pet sells itself with a look on their lives through the perspectives of not just the man, but also the cat. This creativity brings about some unexpected and welcoming surprises. On top of the absolutely heartwarming progression in the man Subaru's character, this was a rather fulfilling slice of life anime. With the mind of Okada Mari, we were given some really detailed insight into the minds of males and females and how they deal with relationships and sex. And it was not afraid to hit some taboo topics as well. While episode 12 definitely helped make the cut, I honestly think that this anime could have benefited from having more episodes for its many characters. Nevertheless, this was still a major contributor to the summer season. With that out of the way, it is now time to look at my top 10 new anime of 2019. First of all, I am a straight male individual, so admittedly, there is little value to obligate myself to an anime like this as pure guilty pleasure material. Thankfully, I have enough reason to give praise. It was honestly really satisfying to see the relationship of Mafuyu and Ritsuka come full circle in a steady and believable progression. The fact that the anime was able to hold off a lot of sexual tension throughout its run made the payoff in episode 9 all the more impactful. Add that to the decent comedy and even ample moments for the side characters, the anime did its job in capturing my attention. And if nothing else, the music was good, which would be a minimum requirement, I guess. When it comes to anime that I can just watch for fun, Doga Kobo is definitely a studio I put a lot of faith in, and while Dumbbell is that sort of mindless entertainment I'm looking for, I am just baffled by how educational this anime is. The level of detail that is given for all forms of exercise really shows that the author knows their stuff. I never would have imagined that stretching can be bad for you if not done in a proper fashion. The anime is also incredibly self-aware, and that helps spike the comedy aspect immensely. Not to mention, the anime uses its setting to perfectly incorporate fan service where it sees fit. This was easily one of Doga Kobo's better works that never stopped being entertaining. I guess if you are a furry, this would be your lucky break, eh? All jokes aside, I had high hopes for this when I heard that it was going to have psychological horror elements. And indeed, this anime was basically Zootopia without the restrictions of Disney. The ever-present conflict between carnivores and herbivores could literally be a metaphor for human society, on how we find ourselves dealing with discrimination, temptation, and misinformation. All of that shown through the actions of humanoid animals, and it was exceptionally done. Even more than that, this anime brings us a surprisingly progressive romance, which is more than what I can say for many human romances. Of course, there is still more to cover, so I hope we do get a sequel. It really is a tough experience to have an obsession over something you just don't have. The presence of not one, but several obstacles that slow the main character from reaching her goal is its selling point. Every step in the right direction, no matter how small or slow it takes, is worth it. After all, we do get to learn some information about paper and books as we go along, and it is also amazing to see Mine interact with the many characters of this world, especially on how she becomes more attached to her new family and Lutz. It is exciting to see what the second season has to offer, considering how I didn't expect that to be a thing. Oh, and by the way, those little Mine inner monologues, I need to see more of them. One of the funniest anime I have seen in a bloody long time. Not only were the visuals superbly done by A1 Pictures, but the level of extreme taken for almost every joke in this anime is what makes it also enjoyable. It is also relieving to have such unpredictability in each joke, as even the most intelligently planned schemes could be affected by something seemingly harmless, and that's why Chika is best girl. Sometimes the anime feels like it is just a few steps away from being a horror show, which is a pretty nifty achievement, I suppose. But I guess a romance this anime is more likely to be, as with the progression of the two main characters. Oh, how cute. Ohayou Sekai, good morning world. I feel that the entertainment medium often puts science in a bad light, as many problems in fiction tend to arise because of it. So when we have an anime that shows the significance of science, it is a pretty big deal. Considering how I grew up being inspired by science, Dr. Stone easily kept me going. All of the small inventions that Senku comes up with and following the steps to attaining them, while being a bit slow, was the main point of the anime. It is incredible to think that seeing the effects of these creations can create moments that were actually emotionally satisfying, and there was enough fun and crazy science stuff happening that made this a truly exhilarating experience, and you can bet that I am 10 billion% looking forward to Season 2. I really have to wonder what sort of deal was made to have such an anime as Demon Slayer be animated by none other than UFO Table. The anime itself honestly isn't anything truly special, as it is fundamentally a shonen series. But it is with the help of the studio that brought this anime to life. With Tanjiro's journey to revert his sister into a human, we are blessed with some amazing action sequences, which we cannot talk about Demon Slayer without mentioning episode 19. And for once, it is surprising to see UFO Table do comedy so well. All of the weird facial expressions carefully highlighted to make the jokes land. Also, with the gruesomeness of demons clearly displayed, I am looking forward to what lies ahead in this journey. It is obvious that hype does nothing for me, considering the excitement I had to finally watch this series. Not only do we have ourselves a pretty dark tale of children getting utilized as merchandise, but adding the mystery elements topped with a battle of wits, you just know that this is definitely right up my alley. The constant tension from fear for the safety of our characters through clever camera work, as well as the many twists that would appear, made it almost impossible to stop watching. By the end of it all, it was a very conclusive stop that made all of the pieces fall into place. But even so, there are still many more answers to be found, and it is just pure relief that we will be getting a second season. If Vinland Saga is actually considered a manga series that should not be adapted, then this anime is all the proof we need. With the care given by Wit Studio, we have ourselves an almost believable portrayal of the history of Vikings, and it definitely helps that the characters are so damn fascinating, especially with the dynamic of Thorfinn and Askeladd. Even minor moments like groups of Vikings chatting with one another feel somewhat interesting because of how realistic they seem. And well, it goes without saying that the animation was handled spectacularly. And that plays a key part when looking at what goes on in the battlefield. So really, all it takes to make a good adaptation is to have a reliable studio with a reliable crew. This anime is a prime example on how to tell a good story. You would have expected this anime to be here if you have been following my channel. Literally no other anime from this year has left me as stunned as when I watched Astra. It is an anime that was willing to take astronomical risks and slowly unwraps itself following a seemingly endless amount of twists. The thing about it is that not one moment felt like a waste of time. The pacing was incredible, every character felt like they fit their roles, and it all led up to probably the most satisfying ending I have ever seen in anime. And if you are looking for an anime to watch from this year, Astra Lost in Space is one that I urge you to please watch till the very end. And there you have my top 10 new anime of 2019. What do you know, the year has come to a close with a lot to show for as well. But what about you guys? What are your favorite new anime of 2019? Let me know in the comment section below. There's no time to rest just yet as we are finally entering the signature year of 2020. So here's to another year on YouTube.